Hey QE Decoders, this is Michael, and I am here to show you the progress on Jinaga Cascade. It's getting very close to launch. I was ambitious. I was hopeful that I would be able to share a link with you today so that you could be on the beta test, but that is coming soon. In the meantime, let me show you how things are progressing. First, I want to share with you the beautiful Jinaga Cascade logo. So we've got the Jinaga logo. It's inverted so that we've got a nice little peak for the data points to cascade off the side. And yeah, if you'll notice, they make a little bit of a normal distribution because that evokes the marbles falling down a Galton board and taking individual bits of data and turning them into insights. That's what Jinaga Cascade is all about. So let me show you how it's working so far. I just finished building it for Windows, so this demo could go horribly, horribly wrong, or it could be awesome. Well, let's find out. We're going to analyze some data, so let's add a data source. I'm going to come over here, and we've got some example data sources. I will start with the Stripe payments because that's a nice small data source, and we see that it has 34 rows in it, 34 objects, and we are displaying the first 3. So within these data objects, we can now see kind of the shape of our data. We can get a feel for it. We've got individual sales organized by product name, product ID, description, and they've each got an amount. So what I want to do is I want to sum the amounts by product name. So the first thing I need to do is group by product name into a collection called orders. So now the top 3 objects have the product name. Now they're the groups, and they've got an array, which is the orders excuse me, that had that product name. And now you can see that product name is no longer part of the child object. Makes sense. Now that I can see this, let's go ahead and sum the amount into total sales. So that sum ends up as a property of that top level object, and you can see that they all now have a total sales. So I've demonstrated this capability before. Now we've got this little plus button. What I can do is add a visualization for this pipeline. Now I want to see this data summarized. So let me summarize it as a pie chart. It recommends a pie chart because we only have 5 rows. It's a small data set, so it's ideal for comparing proportions. So we say we select the product name to label the slices. Total sales is what we want to sum, and it's currency. It detected that that this is currency based on the name, the format of the data. It's not yet using AI to do that. I think I will add a very small or a call to a local model in order to do that. It should be pretty accurate. But based on just the heuristics, it says I think it's currency, so it pre-selects that. Now we create a pie chart, and there's a beautiful pie chart. Hey, this demo is working really well. All right, so we've got our pie chart. It's responsive to the window. But you know what? I want to see more. I want to break down this data by more things. So let me add another visualization over here, and I can add a brand new source, or I can reuse the existing source. I can even reuse the existing pipeline. But in this case, let's go ahead and reuse the existing source. So I don't have to load that in again. It's already here, but now I'm building a new pipeline. So this time, let's see by description. So that's going to be my sales organized by description. Now I just have 4 of them, and I want to sum over the amount again into total sales. Okay, so there's my total sales by description. Let's add that visualization. Again, it recommends a pie chart. Now we just have 4 rows, and description is the what the slices represent. So yeah, now I've got that one. So I can take a look at my 2 dashboards, and that's so I can rename it. Let's go ahead and rename it. This is, well, I'll get to renaming it in just a second. First of all, I want to see these 2 together. So what I can do is just drag this tab onto that tab, and now they're merged. So now, let me rename this. So this is going to be my sales breakdown. That's what this dashboard represents to me. So maybe I want to see it by description first. So let me swap those over. And you know what? I want to actually see some sales detail as well. So let me add a new visualization. So again, I will go back to the source. If I reuse one of these pipelines, then I can go straight to a new visualization for that pipeline. Like, for example, I could go to a table, and see now here's the table for that source data. But I don't want the table for that's already been summarized by product name. So let me go back here, go back to the existing source. I want this raw data. But you know, I don't want all of these columns. Status is always succeeded. So let me drop the status property. Boom. And nobody wants to see these IDs in their table, so drop the ID. So that's a good table to look at. So now I will add a table. Now it recommends a table because I've got complex data. I've got 6 fields, and the table shows all the details. So we pick that, and there's our table. And now I want to add that table to this dashboard. And here we go. We now have our visualizations, our product details, and everything is nice and responsive. It even lays out differently for vertical versus horizontal. It chooses the appropriate flow for all of those components. So really easy to use. It kind of walks you through it itself, and this is helping the normal, the average business person to create pipelines. Behind the scenes, this is the part that I'm really excited about. Behind the scenes, this is building a pipeline that can ultimately be deployed to an infrastructure component. Let me show you. I'm going to save this Cascade file as sales analysis .cascade. Okay. So let's take a look at my examples. Here's sales analysis .cascade. This is nope, fail. Okay. This is supposed to be using a DSL. Oh, I know why this failed. I have not merged that into the main repository yet. So let's put a pause on this demo while I go over to GitHub and let's merge this in. We want to see something awesome. So I'm going to go to Cascade. Here is Jinaga Cascade. And we've got some pull requests. Do I not have this as a pull request? Maybe I haven't even created the pull request yet. Yeah, so the last thing I merged was dashboard management. But I should have. Okay, maybe okay, aggregator language. There we go. Okay, it's 14 commits ahead of main. How far did I get? I did process pipelines on load. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this looks good. So, all right, let's create a pull request on this real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Save and load cascades using the aggregator language. All right. So this will give us a nice before and after. I'll just go ahead and merge that because I've already confirmed that it builds. So we will see that locally soon. But this is a good before and after right here. This is not useful to anybody. This is just the JSON representation of the internal data structure, showing you the data source. It says, okay, I loaded from that data source. Here are the pipelines. Loading from that data source, I've got those pipelines. The pipelines don't even have the steps, so they're not even complete. Visualizations, I want a pie chart based on that. It's not even saying based on what. So yeah, definitely not a complete JSON structure, but that's okay. That's okay because that's not what we want it to be. Instead, I'm going to get checkout main, and it says my branch is ahead of origin main by 4 commits. So I'm going to get pull or rebase so that I can keep my, well, I have unstaged changes. What have I got here? Sales analysis. Yeah, let's go ahead and add the, oh wait, no, I don't want to add that one because that is the wrong stuff. I do want to, so let me just undo that. This one right here, this I do want to, I had to fix this just before I did the build. Add the Windows icon. Up you go. Now we can rebase and everything will be good. And let's go ahead and push those to main real quick, just so we don't have any more conflicts. Now, npm run build desktop. If everything's good, then I should have a brand new Windows install. Okay, so while it's working, the idea is to have a domain-specific language that is that describes a pipeline. So let me go back to the pipeline. Oh, got an error here. It should have shown the pipeline steps. Let me go back to the visualization. Go back to the dashboard. Edit pipeline. Yeah, it's not loading the pipeline steps. Okay. Yeah, and this one has both a pie chart and a, well, that should be a table. I don't have a table icon. All right, there's our table. So I can go to that dashboard and I can see that. So I can navigate backwards and forward through here. So as you can see, a few bugs to clean up. But yeah, the idea is that that somebody should be able to create a pipeline. Like, let's reuse this pipeline. And okay, it's not gonna. Yeah, that's not how you get back to the pipeline. Anyway. Yeah, there's this. Well, it's showing the data objects, but not the pipeline. But you create a pipeline by adding these steps. And behind the covers, these steps are, they are, they're stream processing. They're complex event processing. They process one event at a time coming through that step. And so they create literally a pipeline of steps. All the data just flows through and is transformed along the way. So they keep whatever internal state they need to. Like, for example, group by will keep an internal state of what the different groupings are, so that it can add this one to the appropriate grouping as it passes through. And you know, the sum will keep a running sum per grouping. And so the pipeline, that's a metaphor that has found success in things like Kafka and things like Hadoop, um, Databricks, Snowflake, that this is a great way to process large sets of data, or even data that we don't have an end date for. So we're not loading a single file and processing the whole thing, but instead we're hooking it up to a feed and pulling that through. And so the pipeline is really the metaphor that I wanted to build into the system. So even though right now it's loading single files, it is intended to load from feeds. Okay, let's get a new build. All right. So here we just built a brand new MSI. Yep, that is the right one. So welcome to the Jinaga Cascade setup. We're going to install it. Boom, 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 boom. And launch. Okay. Now, of course, I could just have done the development build, but this is far more interesting. So let's go through that process again. It was pretty easy. Do the Stripe payments example. We're going to sum by product name into sales, and then we are going to, or group by product name into sales, and then sum by amount into total sales. And then take these 5 objects, turn them into a pie chart, and create the next one based on that same data source, but now by description. Into sales, and then sum over the amount into total sales. Okay, and then add another pie chart and merge them together. And there's my sales breakdown. Okay. So let's see what it did behind the scenes in order to get us there. We now have a brand new, wait, no, I haven't saved it yet. Save as sales analysis. There we go. We've saved the sales analysis cascade file, and that is what it's supposed to look like. Okay. Now we have something worth talking about. This is a domain-specific language that describes how you are going to process a data source. So we'll start with the CSV data source. Here's the CSV file called DS1. Then we're going to create a pipeline from DS1 where we group by product name into sales and then some amount over sales into total sales. Just declare that pipeline the same way that you see it on the front end. Then I want to visualize, create Viz1 as a pie chart from pipeline 1, where the label is product name, the value is total sales, and the format is currency. Then let's define pipeline 2. So here we're grouping by destination instead of by product name, and then creating a pie chart visualizing the description. Put them both on the dashboard, and that's what we got. And it's not yet saving the dashboard name. That will be a string that shows up right here. So we'll be able to name these things. Yeah, let's bring in this as a table and add it here. Now, when I save it, I should see, did I hit save? Save, there we go. Now I should see that we're visualizing as a table from pipeline 3, where pipeline 3 is just an empty pipeline straight off of DS1. And there's our dashboard. Viz 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Or if I wanted to put this down here for some reason. Okay. Now it's okay, my keyboard shortcuts aren't working, that's the problem. Now it's 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's put that back up there. Save. 1, 2, 3 again. So what I absolutely love about this is that we've got a human readable and git mergeable Cascade file. It's also something that an LLM could simply start reasoning about. So even though I do plan to create an MCP server for this thing, you don't need one right off the bat. You can just say, hey, let's update this this Cascade file. If I create a skill that describes the structure of a Cascade file and publish that skill, then now you can just download that skill and say, I want to create a Cascade file that analyzes this data, and it creates it. Now, the reason for the MCP server is that you also want it to do that in real time and then grab one of the visualizations. Take that SVG, show it inside of your chat. So now you just say, analyze this data. This is what I want it to do. It shows you the graph. Then it says, hey, do you want me to add this to your dashboard? Yes, please. Boom. And then it adds to the dashboard right here. So having a good, clean, human-readable format like this, as opposed to that ugly JSON that we just looked at, that is crucial for the next steps. But it doesn't stop there. The step after that is now I'll be able to define a source not as a CSV, but as a Jinaga specification. And then I'll be able to take something like this. Here is the Jinaga specification language. So let's take something like this. I mean, this won't work right now, but this is what we're looking at doing in the future. Pop that in there, and then we've got let this be a Jinaga specification, and this is going to be HTTPS my replicator. So maybe this is at cloud.jinaga.com, my replicator. And then maybe we take this, and this now becomes that. You know? I don't know. Something like that. And now you can say that's the data source. Run that data source. Here it emits these individual properties that are projections of the individual facts, but specifications can't aggregate. You can't sum a bunch of specification objects or group them by these properties. So that's why you run them through pipelines. You run them through the pipelines in order to do the aggregation, and then you can do your visualization. And now, the fact that these are pipelines means that they can respond as new information shows up. So now it subscribes to this specification. And then anytime somebody creates a new fact and it shows up in this replicator, it's pushed to your dashboard, runs through the pipeline, and updates in real time. That's what we're going for. So that is great when you are running the dashboard inside of Jinaga Cascade. But most of the time, you're going to want to publish these dashboards to a website and then have your stakeholders load in that data after they authenticate, of course, so that they can see their dashboards updating live. And so that is the role of the Jinaga aggregator. So just like the Jinaga replicator, with the Jinaga replicator, you can take this and send it to the Jinaga replicator that knows nothing about your data, and it will start replicating this information. It will set up a feed for this specification. That's what the replicator does. it will subscribe to nearby replicators in order to pull all the facts necessary to populate this feed. That's precisely what replication is. And so with the Jinaga aggregator, you will take this specification, or this pipeline description, and you will deploy those to the aggregator. And it will, just like Kafka, set up a pipeline that runs those steps as data comes in. But now it knows how to subscribe to a replicator. So you've got your replicator up there, you've got your aggregator up there, you're feeding facts in, they're flowing through, and they're generating visualizations. So you could either subscribe to these raw data feeds as part of your application, or you can put these visualizations just as SVGs into your web app. Maybe even we'll go so far as to host dashboards on the aggregator, so you've just got a dashboard URL. Configure it with authentication, just like you can right now with the replicator. You can configure authentication rules. And then only people who are allowed to see this dashboard will be able to see it. So that's what we're going for. Here is the, let me go back to the home. Yeah, right here. Here's the current version of the infrastructure. You've got replicators that you're running here outside of the firewall so that your Jinaga applications can connect to them and replicate data all the way to the application. You've got replicators running behind the firewall so that your Lambda services can access that information, can respond as new facts come in. But yeah, let's put a an aggregator into the picture as well. Put the aggregator in front of the firewall so that as it pulls information from the replicators, it can present those feeds to the authenticated applications. Put them behind the firewall so that these services can immediately see the aggregations and respond appropriately to those. So that is the vision there. We're going to have a replicator component that knows how to speak this language, and so Cascade now becomes the front end to that aggregator, and we know how to distribute code, how to ship code to the aggregator. This is going to be so cool. So yeah, don't want to save that. We just have this right now. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so that was the product demo for Jinaga React. Now, I want to show you a little bit about how I'm building this. And so you got to see a little behind the scenes where I was able to run a build script and get to a working application. But let's take a look at some of the behind the scenes things. Like here I've got user stories. So I am using AI to write these user stories and accumulate all of the behavior that I wanted to implement. So in the past, I've told it to generate a user story, and it said, "Oh, okay, let me take a look at some existing user stories." It figured out the pattern and continued from there. But now I want to really turn this into a software factory. So I want it to understand right off the bat what a user story is supposed to look like. And so to that end, I will build a skill describing what user stories look like. We've got skills for unit testing. Here's the skill creator. I showed that off last week. We've got opinions about React state management and component design. Here's a skill that can build mermaid state diagrams. So a whole bunch of useful things that, some of them I have copied from other places, like this front-end design also came from Claude's Anthropic skills. And some of them I have built myself, but I have not built a skill specifically for user story writing. So let's do that. Let's go to good old Kilo Code. We're going to be starting off in ask mode, and I will ask it to review. You know what? We've got a microphone right here. Oh, haven't configured the microphone. Okay. Review the user stories in docs/user stories. Yeah, it's trying to get straight to an instance. I'll just leave off the at and describe the format. So this is going to just understand the format of my user stories, but right now I'm just filling the bucket. I'm just having it do some research, bring some things into context so that it can see what I think a user story should look like. And yeah, I'm doing this with Kilo Code. You can do this with Cursor, with Windsurf, with Claude Code. They all do this now. Okay, so we've got a standard structure. So it looks like it's defined the standard structure so far. The given when then, related files optional, related stories / journeys optional. Okay, and then I want to fill it with a few of my opinions. I have an opinion about the acceptance criteria. They should start simple and grow in complexity. To handle significant edge cases. However, they should also not be overly detailed. And so I'm still in ask mode. I'm still just kind of filling the bucket with that opinion. I really don't know what I want it to do with that opinion. But it's just kind of stirring the pot. It's mixing that in. So yeah, they follow a consistent format. Here's the format breakdown. It pretty much repeated what it said there. But it's all in the bucket. So now let's switch to code mode. And since I have the story creator, where is the story creator? That's docs. I've got the skill creator, skill. Then we can ask it to create a skill. We'll call it story writer. Actually, I'm not going to call it story writer because this should just capture my opinions about the user stories. It's a useful skill while writing and while reading user stories. So this is going to be user story format or user story standards. Standards that document the the format and opinions around user stories. So this isn't an action. I'm not saying user story writer because actions would mean that we don't want a skill. We want something that's more akin to an agent, a thing that's going to perform that action, or a workflow, steps to perform that action. Since this is a dedicated, if I were to create this as an action, since this is a dedicated task that something could do in isolation, that's what an agent is. So I would then create an agent that was a user story writer, rather than making that a workflow, which a workflow is more of instructions to the orchestrator to bring lots of different tasks together. So what it just did while we were talking there is it created the new user story standards skill file. It didn't do it right. It did not do it right. I wonder, you know what? I wonder if I have not done this part. Okay. So far, yeah, confession, so far I've been using skills in Cursor, which reads from the Claude folder. Let me revert that checkpoint because it did it wrong. And I'm going to go back to here. Yeah, here's the checkpoint there. So let's restore that checkpoint. Boom. Oh, that checkpoint was after it wrote the skill file. Okay. Anyway, I am going to go back to this point, so I will just delete this skill file myself, because that's not how we do skills. How we do skills is we use the skill creator, which means that these Claude skills need to be inside of the kilocode skills. So let me do a quick look up here on kilocode. Yep, got a little bit of credits in the bank. Kilo.ai. There we go. And I want to look at, let's view the documentation. Let's take a look at skills. Search for skills. Agent skills, capabilities, custom instructions, skill definition, markdown file format. Yeah. Skills location, project global folder. That looks, oh, come on. All right. You know what, for this demo, I'm going to switch to Cursor. Okay. So we've got the same project loaded up in Cursor, so we can see that I've got my Claude agent skills. Let's come back over here and basically run the same prompts. So those prompts were this, so I'll copy that, paste it over here. Okay, so I am going to yeah, I was looking for the setting to swap sides, but okay, we've reviewed the skills and the user stories, and then we also want to talk about this opinion. So I have an opinion about how things should go. So let's tell it that opinion. And then finally, we're going to ask it to create the skill. So we'll see side by side what happens when it can't see the story creator, what happens when it can. And the idea is that I want to create a skill that captures my opinions and structure around user stories. So again, let me go to the user stories. And here's an example user story. Okay. All right, I can see here that it's trying over and over again to create a format guide. It doesn't know that it's in ask mode. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to stop it. And now I will switch to agent mode and type that in. So create a skill called user story standards. Now watch right here. It's going to learn, build system learned front-end design. At some point it had to have learned skill creator. But yeah, every time you see it say learned, it read one of these skills and brought that into context. And so that's what we're trying to do here. Here's user story standards. Here's our skill that now documents the user story standards. So this is what they look like. Related files, story guidelines, start simple, progress in complexity, significant edge cases only, avoid over detail. So this is looking at first glance like a really good skill. So let me go ahead and keep that. And now I want to use this skill. I'm going to clear out the memory here, or start a brand new session, and now I want to write a user story. This user story is going to be about a new visualization. So so far we've got pie charts. I want to be able to display line graphs. I want to display line graphs. So the things that should be in this user story, it should definitely not focus on technical details. In fact, the skill should probably call out don't focus on technical details. We'll see if it tries to do that, and then I will instruct it not to and update the skill. That might be a good demo if that happens. But then the things that are unique to a line graph is the configuration dialog. So with the pie chart, you selected the description and what you sum by. And so now to configure a line graph, you will select the X and Y coordinate data sources. So this is really a scatter plot that's been joined by lines. So let's give it a little bit more context around that. Yeah, these will be scatter plots joined. Where the data points are joined by lines. There we go. So to configure a line graph, you will select the X and Y coordinate data sources. Okay. And then something else that's distinct is going to be the legend. So you will also, so we should be able to create a line graph based on multiple series. So how about this? Yeah, let's make this interesting. So you're going to have objects at the top level that are your groupings. So you will first select the a property that represents the name of the series. Then you will select a property that is the array of data points. Finally, you will select the x and y coordinates within that array. So the properties for the x and y coordinates within that array, and then the legend will display a line with the color generated for that series, along with the series name. All series will be overlaid on the graph. So that seems about right. So raise user story. I want to display line graphs. These will be scatter plots where the data points are joined by lines. To configure a line graph, you will first select a property that represents the name of the series, and then you will select a property that is the array of the data points. Then you will select properties within that data array for the x and y coordinates with, said that twice. The legend will display a line with the color generated for the series along with the series name. All series will be overlaid on the graph. Yeah, that seems like if I were given that much information, I would be able to come up with a user story. Furthermore, the most important thing, flip it around. If you were given a user story, would you be able to tell if that user story was correct or not based on that information? Make it even worse. Imagine an antagonistic user story writer, somebody who's going to follow your instructions but then give you the worst possible outcome. Have you constrained this so much that you would accept whatever they give you? That's the level of specificity that we're going for here. And you can see it doesn't take too much, but we can get that level of specificity. Another technique that that you use quite frequently is elicitation. So ask it to ask you one question at a time to clarify any questions about the intent of this particular user story. So I don't think that's necessary in this case, but let's see. I'm going to keep the file. So I want to create a line graph visualization for my pipeline results so that I can visualize trends and relationships across multiple data series over time. Yeah, so it talks about the grouping, a series name property, data points array property. X is a scalar within the data points array. X and Y. Visualization displays a legend with a colored line sample. All series are rendered on the same graph with lines connecting the data points. Yeah, and there are acceptance criteria. They start off nice and simple. So we've got so given that a pipeline has results ready, and when the user selects the visualization type, then line graph should be available as an option. So it shows up alongside table and pie chart. It could see that by looking at other user stories, because the skill says to include related files. Okay. Technical notes. I forgot about this. Some of the user stories have technical notes in them. I want to avoid that. So let's see how technical these get. So add line graph to visualization kind in workspace TS. No, that's way too technical. So avoid talking. Let's see. Avoid talking about the actual source code in the technical notes. Reserve that section only for very technical, domain-specific information. There we go. So now we should see it revise those technical notes. And yeah, this is the point of developing your own software factory. So now we just say, let's see, data structure requirements. Line graphs require pipeline results where each top-level object contains a scalar, an array, and that's a great technical note. Right. Yeah, that is domain-specific, not specific to the code. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, I must scale the axis automatically, generate a legend. Okay, that's great. So now what I want to do is say, update the skill in order to capture this opinion. In fact, I will say specifically, we are talking about the user story standards. User story standards. So we're going to update the user story standards skill to capture this opinion. And so here's user story standards. Here's the skill.md. So it clarifies technical notes. It's not implementation guidance, including component architecture, data models, all that stuff. It's domain-specific technical information only. Do not include file paths, component names, function method names. Excellent. Okay. That's how you maintain a software factory. As you get results that you are not happy with, you correct the results, and then you tell it to correct the skills. And then you will end up slowly evolving the set of skills that capture your opinions, that capture the state of the project, the state of the collaboration among the people who are working on the project. These are being checked into source control. So other people working on the project will inject their opinions. I'll review their opinions in pull requests, and we will come to agreements that way. So this is fantastic. This is awesome stuff. So now I'm going to add the skill. Let's see. Yeah, let's create a user story standards skill. And then, yeah, here, let's create a sales analysis dashboard example. Here I have, I've done something. What have I done with this one? Oh, nothing. Okay. And then here we have written the line graph story. Okay. And that's a good story. And so I should be able to take that story and run it through the rest of my software factory in order to produce a specification, to produce tests, to produce code. All along the way, monitoring the results and updating the skills so that those results continue to follow my opinions. All right, so that's Cascade. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you very soon, and that's how I'm building it. So build your own software factory, and you can see some awesome results too. I will see y'all next week.